Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
You probably know the feeling. Sweaty, fast breathing, quick heart rate. That's a cortisol spike. It feels awful, and its imbalance is the cause of your anxiety. Rebalance Health's 3-part anxiety system helps address it at the root. Rebalance Health lozenges are natural and designed for optimal absorption, providing 24-hour relief. Live life fully without feeling like you're fighting for it. Get 50% off your first month with code CALM23 at rebalancehealth.com.
In times of old, in times of new, there's a God to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field.
There are 3 things in life that are certain in this world: death, taxes, and John Wick. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the John Wick-stravaganza, where we talk about all things John Wick. John Wick? I already messed it up.
John Wilk?
You guys got to come in and save me. John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, John Wilkes
Ladies and
Booth.
gentlemen,
Yes, we're talking about all things John Wilkes Booth today.
That's right, folks. John Wick burst onto the scene a couple years ago with a little indie action film. The little indie action film that could, and has since grown into something. It's something, because, the 4th one came out recently at the time of this recording, and we all have thoughts. So we're going to take some time, me, Chris, and Cameron, on this episode of the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast, and we're going to mix it up and get into it and talk about what we like, what we don't like, and what we think is the future of the John Wick franchise. But before we do, folks, if you're not in on our Patreon, you're missing out. I'm telling you. We release edited, abbreviated episodes for everyone to enjoy. We hope that you do. But if you want full unedited episodes, actually, and in addition, additional episodes, man, I'm just going to keep plowing through it. Just keep talking.
Dude, you are
talking
on one right now. Just keep going. You got it. You got it.
Live movie stream with commentary with me and Cameron. Then you got to join our Patreon, folks, PCFM Podcast at Patreon. And we have 3 tiers for you to choose from and lots of great content. If you like listening to us mess up our intros, boy, there's more where that came from.
Yeah,
I need a nap now. I'm having a stroke as we speak.
Well, I was going to say, if you're on the Patreon, you're probably hearing this. And if you're not on the Patreon, you probably didn't hear it, because I might just edit it out.
So thank you for joining us, folks. Join us on the Patreon. A lot of great content, and let's jump in. Chris, it's good to see you. It's always good to see you when you can join us for an episode.
Yeah, I really wanted to be here for this one. Not that I don't want to be there for the other ones, but this one in particular, because I love John Wick, and
yes,
I made it a point to go see the 4th one, the 4th and final one. No spoiler there, but because we will be talking about John Wick 4, there will be spoilers ahead. We'll try let's not give away the ending.
Okay.
But, I mean, we're definitely going to have to talk about it, because what else are we doing if we don't talk about it?
Let me ask you guys.
Spoil it.
Well, let me ask you this. Not spoiling anything about the story, but did either of you wait till the very end of the credits?
No, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Because I'm assuming they did a kind of like Avenger type thing, where it's like leaves a little ding-a-ling at the end.
Was it for?
It was weird. I didn't wait.
Was it? I didn't wait because the movie was way too long. But was it? Which is one of my hot takes. That movie was way too long, and I love John Wick. And
it was very long.
It was like, I never thought I'd be bored watching someone kick someone else's ass, but I was like, come on, guys. They could
2 hours and 49 minutes. That movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it was a long
50 minutes could have just stayed. They could have cut out one of his, you have to go kill this guy to keep getting what you want storylines, and it still would have been amazing. But no, I didn't stay to the end because I figured if there was a post-credit scene, I could just watch it online somewhere. But was it a tie-in for the ballerina?
And no, it's not. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just another. It has to do with John Wick 4 and the events, some of the events that happen in that one. It's like a nice little coda, like a nice little sign off. But it's something like you said, Chris. You can watch it on YouTube when it comes out in a week or so or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn it, dude! I really want to know. I didn't wait. Can you just tell me?
I'm a little bummed.
Because they had like the cool cinema.
No,
they had like the cool cinema animated, like John Wick type of
really good animated sequence and credit sequence.
Yeah, and I waited to the end of that, and I thought it was going to pop up at the end of that, but then the main credits rolled, and I was like, yeah, I've been here almost 3 hours, and I saw it by myself. I went alone, so I was like, I've been that guy for almost 3 hours now. I don't know how much longer I can.
What do you mean
keep
that
this,
guy? I love going to
up.
see movies by myself. I used to not.
Oh no,
I
it
saw
was
it by
a
myself,
religious experience.
actually.
It was a religious experience, but like
Our lives
looking
are such...
around, like some people were getting up, and I was kind of feeling the crowd around me, and like everybody was like, after that animated thing ended, everyone was staying put, and then people were like, I need to, like, people started inching, and I was just like, I started inching, and I was like, might as well.
Cam, that's why you don't go see first run movies at a porn theater. There's just going to be a bunch of weirdos there.
Yeah, not to
They're
mention
all
all the
inching
seats were
around.
covered in some dried sticky goo.
Yeah.
Oh god, I was actually heading out, but I asked one of the workers there hanging out in the back. I'm like, is there something? He's like, yeah, there's something at the end. So,
Oh, well, don't tell us. You can tell us off the podcast if that's something that I wouldn't want to spoil because even I didn't see it. So,
all right, yeah, it's fair enough. Well, guys, do you want to jump back, go back, and work our way up to 4, or do you just want to jump right into 4? Because it sounds like we all have.
No, I was going to say let's start at the beginning and do it kind of like
right.
Yeah, man.
let's do some history because I love John Wick 1. I think John Wick 1 is
John Wick 1
near perfect.
was amazing.
Yeah,
it was.
Came out of nowhere,
I remember
really.
where I was. Do you remember where you saw it?
Yeah, I do. I was at my buddy's house. And he was like, hey, why don't we hang out tonight? And I was like, okay. And it was me and my other friend. And I knew that John Wick had come out. It was in 2014. It had come out. And I was like, that movie looks like it's going to be dumb. It's like they're trying to be the Matrix, whatever. So I didn't go and see it in the theater. And I used to go and see everything in the theater. But it came out in like February, which is never a good time for a movie.
October 24th.
Oh, wow. I was way off. Okay. But he invited me over and my other buddy, and we made some steaks, and we sat down, and he put it on, and I was like floored. I was laughing.
It was great.
Because I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
That was so good. I remember I was in airborne school. I went to the theater on Fort Benning, and I saw it in the theater. And fun fact, if you see a movie on a military theater, they have like this. They play the national anthem before they. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, they play the national anthem, and like they have this entire like army recruiting poster thing that plays before the movie, and like everybody stands.
What?
Yeah, and I just remember it ends the way the national anthem ends. It shows all the Rangers marching in formation with their tambourines on, and I was just like, yeah.
It's so funny because it's so like rah patriotism, like, but they got you. You're already on the base.
You're already there,
and they already got your. Yeah. Is it free to go on the base, or do you have to still pay for the ticket?
No, you got to pay.
So
you still
they got your life, they got your time. And they got your money, and then they're like, "But you're gonna sit through the national anthem, like it's a baseball
First of all,
game."
Chris, you never sit through the national anthem.
So you got a bunch of people standing up in the theater. All right.
Well, that's also like that brings me joy that they're like, you get in, you got your popcorn, and then you forget that they're gonna play the anthem, and then you're like, I gotta stand up, I gotta salute.
Set your popcorn aside.
Yeah. There's no drink holders, so you have to like figure out what to do with your drink.
That's
a fun
2014 was a rough year for me, so that was one of the high points of my year. I just remember that first gunfight scene in his house.
Oh yeah,
when he really gets going, because all the way up until that point, it's such simple storytelling. You immediately get who John Wick. You immediately get what his thing is. His storyline is, and then you immediately get, Alfie Allen is this skeezy dude. It's like, oh, he's after his car. Oh, he's got a puppy. And then like when they kill that cute little puppy, you're like, I am so for whatever John Wick is going to do. I want him to do it because they just killed the dog.
Yeah.
Like it's the cardinal rule in
You're
movies.
like, just murder them. Do it now.
Yeah.
Kill them all.
And
they didn't even, the part that got me that like burned itself in my mind is like you hear them, obviously they like hit the dog and it goes, and then it like he like passes out, but then when he wakes up, you can see that the dog like crawled in blood and like curled itself up against him, and that's where it died. That's the details that made me just go off the deep end, which is like, yep. Do what you got to do, man.
It's so brilliant because then, like you said, he gets carte blanche. Whatever he does to anybody in the rest of the movie, you're like, yeah, they fucking deserve it. Every single one of them. Do it twice. But
the first one was absolutely amazing. But you have some fun facts here, Chris, that I know you are the fun facts.
Actually,
king.
no,
so why
Izzy
don't you go
put
ahead
those
and
in, but I'll.
Oh, Izzy did.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I put in the fun facts for 2 and 3, and I don't know if you added to them because I haven't looked back. But Izzy is the one that came up with that, and he's the one that put in these fun facts.
Yeah. Just
amazing.
a couple,
Izzy then.
Yeah,
take credit.
Derek Kolstad was the one that it was actually an original screenplay. Rumors are going about like maybe it was based on a novel or a video game or whatever, but no, it was a original screenplay. Derek Kolstad. John Wick, the character name came from I think his grandfather was his name, John Wick, and then it was actually originally called Scorn, but then I think when Keanu Reeves got involved, he was like he likes John Wick. Keanu Reeves is pretty hands-on when it comes to working on movies in terms of development, and he had a good team with him. Chad Stahelski and David Leitch officially co-directed the movie, and they are actually both stuntmen and stunt coordinators with 8711 Stunt Team, and they actually worked with him on The Matrix way back when, which is pretty cool that they got to come back together for this. And it came out. I think the budget was somewhere like 30 million or something like that, or 20 million or so, and it's different numbers, but it made about 76 million like total, 76 to 86 million the first one, and it just blew it out of the water. Like it was a runaway hit, And but I know that they are, and it's become so popular. They're working on a couple spinoffs, a TV show called The Continental, based on the hotel that he goes to, the Assassin Hotel that he goes to, and then a spinoff movie with Ana de Armas called The Ballerina, which is there's a part, was it second or third one, where there's somebody's at a ballerina, like watching a ballerina. There's like one
it's
of the
in the
families, right?
third one when he goes to see Angelica Houston, right?
Yeah, to get safe passage, and they tear his ticket.
And there's also in the fourth one, the guy goes to like an opera house or something. Wasn't there like a ballerina dancing in that one too?
Yeah, she's by herself. He like has the entire the marquee.
Yeah, the marquee.
He like is watching a single ballerina, like dancing.
So maybe that's just like a recurring theme. But yeah, it was in the third one because Angelica Houston was like she was dancing and she falls over and she's like, get up and dance again. She's like the prima ballerina. I don't know what they call the. She's the director. She's
director. Yeah.
I don't know, and she was really good in that too, Angelica Houston.
Yeah, they do solid casting choices even for like some of the smaller characters.
They do.
Yeah. So anyway, just some fun facts about John Wick. The numbers are what kind of caught my attention. John Wick 2 made 171 million. Everyone makes it more than the last. John Wick 3 made 327, and at the time of this recording, John Wick 4 was already at 244 million after being in the box office for like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so
but good for them.
So anyway, just some fun stuff about the first one. First one really, really wild. It was such a lean and mean movie, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't get into too much of the world building or anything like that. It's in 2, I think, that they really started expanding this universe, this like secret world of assassins.
Yeah. But I mean, I love the world of John Wick, but even in the first one, they give you like this little peek behind the curtain, how they pay for everything with gold coins, how they have this language, this very like specific language that they use. I think it's in the first one when you see like all the ladies with like their done up 50s hairdo and the tattoos, and they're using those really
classic
old computers.
like telephone operator kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's just what I like, and we'll get into it later. What is that they don't sit there and just exhaustively explain everything. They just show you, and you're like, oh, this is just how the world operates. That's just how it works. And that's what I've always enjoyed about the John Wick movies, is that they've created this very specific world. I would even say it's like modern day fantasy, where there's all these different terms for everything, and everyone just accepts it. And there's no like, they don't sit there and explain it even to the audience. It's just like, you just pick it up because everyone else seems comfortable with it. And it's like this whole different lexicon and this whole different world, but it's like just beneath ours. It's like an underworld that it could be in any city. And it just feels
they
real.
paint it very well.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing that got me, is like, just like you said, they don't spend time explaining everything. They just show you, and it makes me feel like this can be happening like anywhere, and like it could truly be a documentary about like this underground society of assassins. And every time I watch a John Wick movie, I'm always sitting there. I'm like, how do I get in? Like, how do I become part of this? Like, I want to do it so bad. It's so cool.
That'd be a fun little movie or spin-off or whatever. It's like, how does one ever even like find out about and then enter into this? Probably it's because they present it as this thing that it's been going on almost like Assassin's Creed. It's been going on for maybe hundreds or even thousands of years.
Yeah.
There's the high table. There's all these rules. Mm-hmm. All these rules have what have kept this in secret world going and perpetuating itself and kind of well defined. That'd be a fun little movie. But like, you're probably just born into it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Such is life.
Yeah. Such is life. I mean, that's what it kind of seems like, but that's to go back to like you talking about the rules. They have all these very specific rules and everyone pretty much follows them. And I'm like, it's fascinating because it seems like it would be this chaotic world where people are just running around murdering people, but it's very orderly and organized. And there's all this, there's a lot of respect. And I'm like, I love that part of it too. So,
yeah. What do they say in the movie? They always go like, without rules, we're no better than the animals or something like that. What is it? Oh, what does he say?
I don't want to misquote the movie.
I don't want to misquote the movie too. Sorry.
I like if we're talking about like the consistency of the movies, is each movie, I think John Wick 4 is the one that has the biggest time jump. Like the second one starts like right away.
It's
maybe
like
a couple
week
days
after
the first one.
Yeah, it's like 1 week after the first one ends, that the second one begins.
Yeah, and then the third one starts literally in the same moment.
Yeah,
that the second one ends.
Well, shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I'm having trouble remembering much about the second one, because I think the third one is my favorite.
The second one starts...
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the second one.
The second one starts where it's the guy the big bad in the first one.
Santino.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's his brother, played by Peter Stormare.
Yeah.
Who's playing a Russian, even though he's Swedish. He ends up playing a Russian a lot. But he is sitting there, and they're like, it's like a chop shop with all these cabs. It's like a cab company that steals stuff, and they're cutting all this gold and other like weapons and all sorts of stuff out of the back of these cabs and like stacking it, but they know that they have John Wick's car and they know he's coming for it. And the guy's like, did you get rid of his car? And the guy's like, no, but blah, blah, blah. And he has to say, are you stupid? He's coming. And then he just like, I think it's in that one where he doesn't fire a shot for like the first 12 minutes of the movie. Yeah, he does it mostly with the car and just tears people up with the car. And it's that big, and that's how it starts. And then he goes in and talks to Peter Stormare and he's like, I hope this is the end of it. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. You can go.
You can go. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the second one, but it seems to be the most forgettable out of the four. Because actually,
well, you just saw the fourth one, so you're not going to forget it, Cam.
Yeah. Well, come on. Like the first one is like unforgettable. Yeah. Parabellum. I've seen it twice. It's that one has a lot of cool sequences. Just because it's more involved with like the family and it shows more of the universe. But like for some reason, when I was like putting my favorite parts in our outline here for like the second one, I was like, I don't even remember what happened. So I actually had to go back yesterday and I watched the second one yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, totally.
And then when you watched it, you were like, oh yeah, that whole scene in the catacombs with the shotgun and he stashes the gun. Yeah, that scene's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, I remember now.
But my one gripe, if we want to talk about gripes, like I love the John Wick series. Like every single movie, I don't have any doubt that has taken its seat as one of the greatest action movies or action franchises that has ever been released. But then I start noticing like as more they increase the budget, the less authentic the movies feel. So like the first John Wick was that's my favorite John Wick out of them all because it is so believable that, one guy is capable of doing all this. He doesn't have the fancy bulletproof suit. He doesn't have like all these gadgets and stuff. It's just one man with a vendetta because they killed his dog. And he uses regular guns. He uses regular tactics. But then like up into the fourth one.
If we can move into the fourth one, I'd like to list off all my grievances.
All right, here we go,
real
folks.
Quick, R.I.P. Lance Reddick.
Lance Reddick, yeah.
That's a grievance. I was like, I don't know why Sharon had to die immediately.
Yeah.
Because which is the one where they fight all the guys in the Continental? Is that in the third one?
That's the third one.
That's the Parabellum. That's the third one.
When he teams up with John Wick and they get the shotguns out of the vault and Winston's just sitting in the vault, that whole part, I was like, God, give him more to do. And then he dies within literally like 10 minutes of the movie. Although it could have been half an hour because the movie's so fucking long. Which that's actually grievance number one, is that it felt bloated and a little overindulgent. Like they just had the money and they were like, let's just make, like they didn't have anyone telling them no. Because when they made that first one, lots of people were telling them no because they only had $30 million. And now they had $100 million and no one was telling them no. They're like, we should do this. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. We should do this. Yeah, let's do that. So I think that is why, without someone to rein you in or something to rein you in, I feel like it just felt a little bloated. Like there were times when I was a little bored and that had never happened in a John Wick movie before. So
yeah, that's true.
I got the same feeling in that, I forget what the first major fight scene is, if it's in Japan or elsewhere.
Yeah, it's in Japan with all those guys in the gray suits. And this is big grievance number 2. It's the bulletproof suits. Guys are getting shot and they're not reacting. And I'm like, I understand.
They all wear the suits. They all have them,
I understand the suit's bulletproof, but if you get shot with like a Kevlar vest on, I heard it's like getting hit with a sledgehammer because all Kevlar does is it disperses the force.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't like go through you. That's why actually knives can go through Kevlar, because there's a point and it's not about the force of it. Which also in Dune, that's why they use swords. Anyway,
the slow blade penetrates the shield.
Yeah, because their shields are like Kevlar. But when I realized what was happening, I was like, you got to be kidding me, because he's shooting guys, they're not reacting, and then he gets out a pair of nunchucks, and suddenly guys are just dropping off like flies. I was like, what?
Honestly, cool kung fu. Like,
Oh,
you haven't
no.
seen nunchucks being used.
I loved it. I loved that he got out the nunchucks, but it bothered me that the bullets didn't do anything. Because I was like, just lose the bullets. Make it all hand to hand. Make it be a reason that they can't use guns in this room. Like it's filled. If they shoot, it might ignite something. I don't know. So, just the
it was the same feeling in the second Raid movie.
Yeah.
Where the all the fight scenes, it's like, okay, it wasn't that they were more innovative, which is what I liked about the third one, is that they were just longer. They just kept going, and there were all these different moves and stuff like that. And even at this point, there were a couple parts where Keanu Reeves is showing his age a little bit. Like the stuntmen were not going as fast. They were waiting to kind of throw that punch, or they were down on their knees a little bit longer because he's got to wait to get his set up for the stunt, you know?
Yeah.
So it just, that first one was like, ooh, I can feel myself wanting to like this more, but I'm like, ooh, I can tell they're really... I don't know. They're just, it's hard to innovate, and they didn't really kind of top themselves with this one.
Yeah, it just
at least not with that first one.
And maybe that's the last fight scene they shot or something. But I felt the same thing. I was like, they're waiting. They're waiting for the setup, and it just moved slower. And I get it. He's 50 something. He's not going to move at the speed because.
I mean, it's impressive he's doing it all himself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he does like 95% of his stunts. The only thing he doesn't do is get hit by cars.
Which was the whole movie.
Which grievance number 4 when they're in France and they're driving around in the roundabout. It wasn't just that a million people got hit by a million cars and everyone kept fighting. The cars didn't stop. They just kept coming, and I was like, no, there'd be traffic. It would have already happened.
No, but it was
people would stop, especially with all this shooting going on. People would like be running, getting out of their cars running.
They're in France. They're not in fucking Alabama where people are like, no, those guys are shooting their guns. Like, there's not a bunch of guns in France. Yeah. And so,
I mean, fully into the fantasy world that you described. We have gone down the rabbit hole into a world where everyone expects this. It's a world of assassins. You know?
No, because that's what I liked about the first one, is that it was an underworld. It's like this, it's just below the surface, but when it's bubbling up way above the surface and no one's reacting to it, it's the same thing like in the club with no one reacting to him hacking guys up.
If I can intrude.
Yeah, go ahead.
It also happens in the second movie too.
Does
it? So there's a big fight scene with John Wick and who's the
Common.
Was it Common? And they're fighting on the subway, and they're like literally pulling knives on each other, and there's people on the subway, and they're just sitting there, and they don't run off until the doors open and they reach the spot. But on a regular subway, you can like go to the other cart. You know, nobody's getting up and like trying to get to the other cart because you just open the door and run. Like, they're sitting there watching it all happen, and then they run out when the doors open.
I'll have to rewatch. I know you're just throwing that in there to hurt me, but I think this is like a little different because
they're shooting guns and stuff. They're knife fighting.
They're knife fighting on a subway, and literally people can't get off the subway. I'd have to go back and watch and see if people's faces are like, "Oh shit, what should I do?" But the driving in the cars, they just don't.
Yeah, that's a little.
I was like,
I mean, it's still impressive because that's an actual location.
But also,
like, I totally wonder how do they film that? Yeah, he gets hit by a lot.
He gets hit by 5 cars.
Even when they put the hit out originally on like the radio station, he gets hit from a car right off the bat.
Yeah,
and like another guy gets hit the same way he does. And he's like down for the count. And then when John gets hit, he's like hits the floor and immediately gets
that bulletproof suit.
Yeah.
Plus, you have grievances. I have another grievance. And one of the reasons, if you watch the first John Wick and you know the exact pistols that he's using, they accurately have ammo counts. Like, you can literally count all the rounds he's shooting in the scene in his kitchen when all the guys are coming after him originally in the first one. Mm-hmm. You can literally count until he's empty. Even though they're like, this is the Sand Viper and it has
21 rounds.
21 rounds. When he's in the car and he's like doing donuts around them and he's shooting with one hand, he shoots about 40 times. I was literally counting it. I was like, you'd be out. You'd be out. You'd be out. And like, they completely ignored that. And I was just like, oh man, that's like one of those small things that you pick up that like made me love the first one so much.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said though, it just got more and more divorced from reality. Like, I think they kind of forgot their roots because again, they were just blinded by they have this big budget and they were thinking about all the stuff they could do with it. And all this still is to say that I still liked the fourth movie a lot. I still think it's better than most of the other action movies that come out because it's just wildly entertaining. For instance, I mean, the shotgun that shoots fire.
That's what I was about to bring up. It's called Dragon's Breath.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing. Oh, wow. It is a real thing. So, and it's funny because it's been around for a very long time. And I'm surprised this is the first time that we've ever seen it used in an action movie. Because do you remember that YouTuber back in the day, FPS Russia?
No. I mean, I've heard of him. Didn't he get taken down or something like that? He came out when like YouTube first was. He was like one of YouTube's first gun YouTubers when they dropped. I think YouTube came out in 2004. So he had a YouTube video on Dragon's Breath, and it 100% looks like that, and it comes out like sparks, and it lights whatever it hits on fire. And that scene when they are overhead, this is one of the reasons I'm glad it had such a big budget, because that part of the movie,
yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
That was
when he's,
innovative.
Going through the rooms. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, that I enjoyed so much. But what I didn't enjoy is when they showed. I saw that the thing was called Dragon's Breath on the shotgun shells, and then they cut to a guy testing it out. I was like, why would he test it out and then nod to his friend? They already know what it is. They bought a bunch of it.
Yeah.
Also,
we just have to make sure it works.
Also, it would have been an amazing just reveal if it just happened in the movie, in a sequence. If they're loading it up with Dragon's Breath, and then John's surprised by it or something. But no, they showed you what it does, so then you were waiting for it. So they telegraphed it. But and then my last grievance,
the final grievance
is, and they do this in all the movies, but not to the extent they did it in the fourth one. No previous characters came back other than Winston, Chiron, and John Wick. They didn't bring back, I wanted to see John Leguizamo's character. He said he was going to fix his car. I wanted to see the car come back. And they said it in all, the fact that the movie ends in France, in Paris, something that nothing ever happened there in the other movies. And he's fighting this final duel with this blind guy named Kane, who is brand new in this movie. And they talk about this history that they have, but I'm but we never saw it. I don't care about Kane. I don't care about him and his daughter because they're brand new. I don't have a relationship with them. I wish that it just felt less substantial. There were all these big bad people and all these new things introduced, but I was there was so much richness from the previous movies that they could have brought back. Isn't who's the girl who doesn't talk? She's deaf.
Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose. No, but she dies.
No, she doesn't, because he says "be seeing you." Does she die?
Yeah, but then she goes "be seeing you," and then she goes and crows.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my grievances with the second one, because they build her up as such a badass, and she literally gets the shit kicked out.
She never really had her moment. But and it's even the same thing with the owner of the
Japanese Continental.
Yeah, the Japanese Continental, the Osaka Continental.
Yeah,
and I love that actor. Again, I can't remember his name. I should remember his name because I love him, and he's been in a lot of movies that I like, and he's always good.
Yeah, always good.
But then he comes in, and you're again
Hiroyuki Sanada.
There you go.
Yeah, and you're supposed to have his death in the film. I was yeah, I guess it's sad. And then his daughter, she comes and she talks to John Wick, but you never see her again. And I was what was the point of her "if you don't kill him, I'll kill him" thing? And then she just vanishes. She never shows up in the movie again. So it just felt like they left. There were a lot of loose threads, and there didn't have to be. They had a whole fourth movie, and it was 3 hours long, and then they didn't bring back so much stuff they could have brought back. In fact, they killed one of the only returning characters within the first 10 minutes of the movie. And what I thought would have been much more satisfying, instead of this marquee guy, this one bad guy that he has, is if he would have been well, then I'm just going to have to kill the high table. And if he just... And they underused Lawrence Fishburne. He was barely in it. And I really like the Bowery King as a character. I don't know. I just felt they put a bunch of characters that I didn't care about as centerpieces in this movie about John Wick. So
Now, Chris, we were talking about what you said, Yayan Ruhian from The Raid, that Indonesian martial artist. Allegedly, he is accredited in John Wick 4, so he's in there at some point.
Yeah, but
maybe he's one of the stunt people or something like that.
Yeah, maybe he's a stunt person, or he's one of the gajillion people that he kills when he's running up the stairs.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it wasn't Iko Uwais. Maybe it was this guy. The little guy.
The little guy. Yeah. Oh, no, not the main guy from The Raid.
In it too.
But
it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must have been like a stuntman on it or something.
But yeah, those are my petty grievances. And all that being said, it was still super entertaining. I just wish it had been a little shorter, and I don't know.
Well, let me add.
I don't know. I'd go watch it again, to be honest.
I've got a few positive things to say about it. Donnie Yen is the best part of that entire movie, because at this point in the John Wick series, John Wick has a pretty clear through line, and he's just fighting his way to the finish. Like they add Donnie Yen to give him a little more depth and a little more relationship. But Donnie Yen's character, the way he plays it, like you can tell the whole movie, his character doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be doing this. And he has so much color to like 1 and 2 word lines. Like you totally get the look on his face, his posture, everything. And not only that, but Donnie Yen's a master martial artist. He's been doing it for longer than any of us have been alive. And everything he does is so enjoyable to watch. Like sometimes you think he's just like his character Kane's just putting in just the bare minimum of effort just to get through the fight, because he just doesn't want to do this, and his fight with Hiroyuki Sanada, and that whole kind of past and stuff like that, and the ending duel where they, he was the high point of that movie.
Well, don't get me wrong, I liked the character. I just didn't know why the movie was ending with John Wick dueling with that guy when I had known that guy for 2 hours.
Yeah,
like I wish it had been
a long 2 hours.
A long 2 hours. I just wish it had ended with him doing something. Like I loved when Donnie Yen, when he's first like in that kitchen scene and he puts the little doorbell things.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there just eating the noodles, and the guy's like, "Will you get in there and fight?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." Like I loved his character, and Donnie Yen always when I saw that he was blind though, I was like, is Donnie Yen actually blind? Because I was like,
Kane's character, he had to grow on me so much. Because at first, I didn't like him in the beginning. Like when he's first introduced, I'm like, oh my god, why the hell did they cast this guy? Because he like walks in and he's just like, pick someone else, and I'm like, this guy's supposed to be like a super cool killer, but at the end when he's like, just remember your daughter, and he's like, fuck off. And that part made me love him the most. But he had to grow on me. Just, I don't know, as a blind man in that thing, there were multiple times in that movie when, like, I don't know, he would totally die.
I love some parts, he's just trying to get a read of the room by using his bullets. Like he's firing in random directions to see how people move, and then he can zero in on them. Yeah. I loved that.
Yeah.
There's one part where they're going up the stairs, he's helping John Wick, and he shoots the guy, and the guy falls, and then he shoots like 12 more times in that general direction. Oh man, so entertaining.
But then as much as I liked him, I didn't like the other bounty hunter character, because I didn't understand his motivations.
Oh yeah,
I know that he wanted.
Yeah, he was kind of random. Yeah,
I know that and then at the end, he's just sitting there drinking his beer. It's just like the way they used him. He could have been a really cool character. I thought maybe he was going to be like Halle Berry's brother or son, just because he also had a dog.
He's got the dog,
and no, I don't know. Maybe that's how it was supposed to be, and then they just. Like it hit, maybe that's the thing they cut out of the movie, because but no, Donnie Yen was really good, and the Kane character was really good. I think that Bill Skarsgård played a tremendous asshole. Like he did such a good job.
Yeah,
but I just was like, but I don't know who the Marquis is.
Right.
Like
there wasn't a lot of backstory. It's just like they're French guys. Yeah.
I think I would have liked it more if John Wick took out the high table. because those were the last remaining people preventing him from like living his life.
Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, final thoughts here on the John Wick.
The Jan Wick? That's his sister.
Jan
That's
Wick.
another
Yeah,
spin-off.
they're gonna
Jan
reboot
Wick.
it.
Yeah, that's the spin-off that the studio keeps talking, because they, after the movie came out, the studio or the head of the studio came out. I'm not sure his name, but he's like, we want to keep making John Wick movies, and
It's because they make
I don't
so
know,
much
maybe
money.
you'll get they make so much money, but maybe we'll get that Kane backstory with like, or maybe we'll see the final mission that John Wick, had to do to get out of the game originally. Like, I see a lot of different, they, like you said in the beginning of this podcast, they made the story so wide that, 4 movies, they really had to narrow it down. But they introduced this giant universe. Pretty much, to me, it's an equivalent to introducing the Marvel universe. Like, how Marvel's completely taking it and going everywhere because there's so much real estate to take.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I see the John Wick universe, because they introduce all these characters, and even though they don't get reintroduced in the end, it's like they all can have their own spin-offs.
Yeah.
Like Common lived.
Yeah.
And he's, and that Russian guy in the second one, the brother of Vigo, he lived. Like, all these people that he's like, be seeing you.
Yeah.
Like, they can all have their own spin-off,
Yeah. I mean, that's
my final thought.
I guess my final thought would be, I'm sad that it's over, but like I said, I'm glad they didn't draw it out. But it was just such a pleasure to watch all of those movies. Like, I wish I could go back and watch them for the first time again, because they were just...
Yeah.
Like, I have a tendency when something very violent happens in a movie, I'll laugh, because I just can't believe how, like...
I laughed a lot in John Wick 4.
Yeah, I like, just because I'm like, it's so, I don't know what it is. If you guys have ever seen Eastern Promises, there's a fight scene at the end of that movie that is one of the most brutal fight scenes you'll ever see.
In the bathhouse?
Yeah, and I couldn't stop laughing. And the director, David Cronenberg, was there for like a talkback afterwards. And the guy asked him, he said, when you hear people laughing during scenes like that, why do you think that is? And he's like, because there's so much tension, you have to release it somehow. And I was like, that's exactly what it is, because I'm just like, it's like I'm laughing out of disbelief that I'm seeing what I'm seeing. And I probably, other than The Raid, John Wick is probably the only movie where I've laughed because something's so violent in a good way. I've never laughed as much at John Wick for that than like no other movie compares. It's just, it's been just like a pleasure watching all the movies, and I really wish I could go back and watch them for the first time again.
That's a good final thought. I don't really have anything as profound as that. No, I guess my kind of echo you, Chris. I really enjoyed the series. I hope that they're done with it based on the ending of this movie, that they don't find some way that, Keanu Reeves doesn't come back, and whatever happens, it'll be interesting to see how they continue, because with a movie like The Ballerina, they'll take time, all that stuff, the choreography of it, the execution of the fight scenes, all that stuff takes time. If you've ever been on set, you know how long these things take. A television show, it's going to have to be like very different, or maybe the fight scenes are fewer and further between, because it's really hard to kind of push the envelope. And I thought it was pitch perfect in 3, 4. I thought they had a hard time innovating that kind of action. And I guess maybe now I'm waiting for the next, whoever's going to push the envelope beyond John Wick or in a new direction in terms of action movies. They're going to have a high bar to reach, because John Wick, 4 chapters of John Wick now exist. And so, it'll be interesting to see who innovates next. Yeah.
So, great discussion.
Sisu.
Sorry, I'm emotionally kind of spent. That was
Yeah, that was a lot.
It was.
One movie. Well, first, two final thoughts before we move on to our game here is I really want to count how many lines John Wick had in the fourth one. Because he only spoke, I think, a handful of times. And like said one word to a couple word sentences. I really want to know. I think he had like 10 lines in the entire movie where he's just like, yeah, maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe
I'm
not.
gonna need a gun.
I'm gonna need a gun. Nice. And then finally, talking about movies that might set the bar. Did you guys catch the trailer for Sisu that was before?
Yeah, same studio. Yeah, Swedish.
Same
film
studio,
or something
same
like that.
creators.
I don't think that was before the one I saw.
Okay, well, yeah, look up the trailer for Sisu, SISU. It looks pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. It'll make you laugh a lot, Chris.
Okay.
It'll make you laugh a lot. And it's about killing Nazis.
Oh,
yeah.
Definitely. I'm in. I don't even need to see the trailer.
Yeah. But cool.
What about this fan question?
You got a game, Chris.
You want to do the fan question?
Oh, a fan question?
We got a fan question.
Yeah. It's, what's the worst injury you've ever had that was completely avoidable?
Ever?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. For me, I would have to say in dance class,
Sorry, mine's going to be even
college.
weaker than that, so go ahead.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, in college, I added a minor in dance to my theater major, just so I could be in with all the ladies. And literally, I was the only guy in a lot of my classes. But I wasn't good at doing my homework for choreography, so I would improv a lot of the classes, a lot of the final exams, which were dances, that I performed. I'd have like a loose framework, and then I'd just kind of make up the rest because I was pretty athletic and pretty good at the time. And one of my finals, I was doing a dance, and I jumped and I landed in releve on my toe, but my ankle kind of snapped to the side real quick, and I snapped. The bone itself didn't break, but the tension on the muscle was so much that it took a piece of bone off with it.
Oh my God.
Avulsion fracture.
Yeah, there you go. That was it. And my ankle on the side swelled up to like the size of like a softball. And I was like, oh, I think I need to go see someone. Like, yeah, you better get out of here right now. So if I would have just been a little more careful, I probably wouldn't have happened.
Well, I guess we know who's going to be starring in the new ballerina.
That's right.
Here.
This guy.
But speaking of avulsion fractures, I also had one, which was my worst injury. When I was maybe 15 or 16, I had a quad. I had a TRX 250 Honda. And like I'd ride it around like my house because we had some land when I was growing up. But I brought it to Gorman here in California, which is like an ATV park. And they have this thing called the Wall there, and it's a hill climb, but it's just like at one point it looks like it's straight up. Like you're looking up it, and you have to look all the way up, and you can't even see the top. But my buddy at the time was like, "Yeah, man, you can hit that climb totally." But I've never, done anything like that before, and I'm still a pretty new rider. So he just told me shift your way up, and I didn't understand what that meant. So what that means for like dirt bike terminology is like gain up as much speed as you can getting up, and just like you can shift your way up. But on the quad, I thought that meant start in first and just like creep up it, and then when you need to shift your way up. So I was like pretty much almost vertical, still in first, and he's like shift. And I shift, and when I shifted, I kind of popped the clutch, and like the entire front end of the quad came up off the ground. So I pushed it back down, but I was pretty maxed out on RPMs. Like the quad stopped, and it just started rolling back. And when I went to go jump off the quad started tumbling sideways and landed on top of me. And I got an avulsion fracture on my pelvis. So a piece of bone on my pelvis ripped off onto the tendon. And at first, like, I didn't think of anything of it, but like I couldn't walk. Like I literally couldn't walk. So the rest of the day I just spent there. My mom had to drive all the way out there, which is like 2 hours away from where we're at, and like come pick me up. And they were just like, the dad I was with was just like, yeah, walk it off. You'll be fine. And yeah, we do x-rays, and I had an avulsion fracture. And the doctor, and if you're not a medical expert, fractures of the pelvis can be like extremely fatal. Like
you have a lot of
like
arteries and-
in battlefield medicine, like if you're shot in the pelvis, there is a big chance you're going to die. So any type of the fracture of the pelvis, because you have like your femoral running through there, and you know you can bleed internally really easily. So I went to the doctors, and they're like, "You have an avulsion fracture," and they're like, "You are super lucky, because if it fractured a little bit more, you might be." They're like, "There was a big chance that you might have, you know, lost your legs, and you wouldn't be able to do anything again." And I was a dancer at the time too, so they're like, "Yeah," they're like, "If that fracture was a little bit worse, you probably wouldn't be able to dance again, and then I wouldn't be able to join the military." So that's the worst injury I had, but that was the only fracture I've ever gotten.
All right.
So we hope that answers that fan question.
Yeah.
Totally avoidable. Should have just shifted my way up.
Yeah, should have just shifted. Well, now you know. And knowing is what?
No, for sure. Knowing is power.
Knowing's half the battle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
G.I. Joe.
That's knowledge is power.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
All right. So, for this game, it's I was inspired by Izzy's game that he put a thought of a game at the bottom of the episode, and I just kind of continued it. So, this game is to celebrate all things Keanu Reeves. Okay, so it's
nice.
This game is called I Know Keanu.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. So I'm going to give you a movie, and you just have to tell me what the name of Keanu Reeves' character was in that movie. Okay?
Oh, damn it.
So the warm-up is John Wick.
John Wick?
Wait, what's the game? I was totally not paying.
Whoa, you guys
He's
are not
gonna
paying?
give us a
I'm going to
name
give you the name of the movie, and you have to tell me what
that
Keanu
Keanu
Reeves'
is.
character was in the movie. These are all Keanu Reeves movies. You just have to tell me
Okay.
what his character's name was.
Okay.
Very simple.
John Wick.
So in John Wick, what was his character's name?
John Wick.
Frank?
It was Jardani.
John Wick. Jardani.
John Vonovich.
What?
It's John Wick. His name's John Wick. Okay, so you're ready to go. I'm going to warn
we
you,
get it,
these are going to get progressively harder. Or more obscure,
man.
I'll say. Okay, so, first one, Point Break.
Point Break.
Johnny Utah.
Johnny Utah.
Johnny Utah gets his guy.
Johnny Utah gets his guy. Give me two, Johnny. All right.
Yeah, Utah. Give me two.
Constantine.
Isn't it John Constantine?
It is John Constantine.
It's John Constantine. That's his name. All right.
Love a good John. Love a good John.
Or Joanna Constantine. You know, it's a whole new world out there.
All right. The Matrix.
He is.
I love that Izzy's waiting for
Neo.
you to answer.
It's Neo.
Because
It's
he
Neo.
knows the answer. Okay.
It's one of his names.
His name is Neo, but for 1,000,000 more cool points, what is his actual name?
Thomas Anderson.
Thomas A. Anderson. That is correct.
Mr. Anderson.
Good for you.
Guilty of
Izzy.
every crime, virtually every crime we have a law for.
All right. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
You need the full name?
I'd prefer it.
Wait, which
Isn't
one is
he-
he? Is he Bill or Ted?
Is he Bill? I think he's Bill, right? Yeah, he's Bill.
No. I think he's Ted Theodore Logan. Because there's Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan. I think he's Ted Theodore
I think,
Logan.
yeah, no, you're right. I think
Ted.
he is Ted Theodore Logan.
Way to agree with him, Cam. That is correct. His name is Ted Theodore Logan. Okay.
So I'm here.
Toy Story 4.
Toy Story.
Ah!
Oh, he's.
Oh, what's that guy's name?
Does he play the bear?
No, that's Toy
he's
Story
the stunt-
3, and he's
the
not.
Canadian,
That's Toy Story
the
3.
greatest Canadian stunt toy guy, Duke Kaboom.
I haven't seen Toy Story 4.
he plays
I'm
Duke
sorry.
Kaboom.
It's Duke Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom. I'm sorry,
Kaboom.
Sean.
Jean-Luc.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jean-Luc.
Okay. Remember, they're going to get harder. All right. Always Be My Maybe.
Oh gosh, this is where we fall off the deep end, Cam. Always be. I mean, I'm just gonna guess because he's played either Thomas or John in most of his career roles. I'm gonna say John.
John Francis Lewald.
Lewald? No. The character he plays in Always Be My Maybe is Keanu Reeves. He plays himself, but like a version of himself.
Really?
It's actually, if you haven't seen the movie, you should watch it just for that part because it's hilarious.
He plays himself in the second SpongeBob SquarePants movie as well.
Yeah. Well, this time he's playing like a caricature of himself, and it's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
All right. The Day the Earth Stood Still, the remake, obviously.
Oh, man, that guy has a name?
Yeah, they say it a bunch in the movie.
Oh, man.
Haven't seen this one.
I mean, he says the famous line, Klaatu Varata Niktu, but Klaatu is the name of the robot, the destroyer robot.
The Dave. Michael.
Give me 5 seconds.
1,
James.
2, 3, 4, 5.
I forget. I don't know.
His name is Klaatu. The name of the big robot.
Klaatu.
The robot's name is Gort.
Oh, Gort. Klaatu
Gort.
Varata Niktu. Okay.
Because he's saying Klaatu says to do this. Is when he says Klaatu Varata Niktu.
Okay.
So I knew you'd know the phrase because it's also an Army of Darkness. But
That's right.
Okay. Continuing on, 3 more. 47 Ronin.
Oh, God. 47 Ronin.
Oh, man. I don't know.
What is his name?
Plays an
Does he have a name in that
an
one?
outcast.
Sure it does.
In that one.
I'll give you a
Orphan
hint.
boy.
Because Keanu
Chip.
is a Hawaiian name. Keanu. So his name in 47 Ronin is also a Hawaiian word.
Oh, interesting.
Ohana.
Yes, his name is Family. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Cam, you kill me.
His name is Kamehameha.
No, his name is
Lilo.
It's Kai, which means ocean.
Kai.
And Keanu, I think, means peace. All right, 2 more. You're probably not going to get them based on... Okay, A Scanner Darkly.
A Scanner Darkly.
I actually saw this one.
I love A Scanner Darkly.
I kind of liked it.
It's the first time they like really rotoscoped a movie and made it look like animation, even though it was shot live action.
Yeah.
Not a lot of confidence, though, because you said, I actually saw this one.
Yeah.
It's all on you, Izzy.
I'm just going to have to say John, because he most of the time plays John. So.
His name is Bob Arctor.
Bob Arctor.
Bob
It was on the
Arctor.
tip of my tongue.
I know, you were so close. And the last one, of course, is everyone's favorite, The Devil's Advocate.
The Devil's Advocate.
Oh, man.
Another good
This is
movie.
the one where he plays the lawyer, right?
Very early. It's got Al Pacino, very early Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron. Lots of nudity.
Lots of nudity. Shall I free you from your burden?
I'm
Is
just
it
going
Tom?
to have to say John Thomas.
No. First of all, John and Thomas, he's not named that much in all of his movies. His name is Kevin Lomax.
Kevin Lomax.
Kevin
Hotshot
Lomax.
lawyer Kevin Lomax.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Never lost a case.
I hope that stays with you.
Man.
Forever.
It will. Kevin Lomax.
You'll forget it by next week. Okay, that's it. That's the game.
I'll forget it.
You guys
Oh,
did.
man, we started strong and we went down in flames.
You did exactly
Yeah.
as well as I thought you would do.
Perfect.
Which is, you did 50%. I knew those last 5. They're deliberately hard, so I don't know. I thought maybe.
You're good at ratcheting it up, Chris.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah.
Izzy, I thought maybe, and this is, I'm not, this isn't a challenge or anything.
You can be honest.
No,
You can
I
be
thought
honest.
Izzy's really good about that stuff, so I thought he'd just pull
Yeah.
these
No,
weird stuff.
I just watch.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was the
I
last
don't.
kid.
I don't internalize anything.
That's
I just
how I
watch.
gained
Yeah.
my identity.
that's how you make it through all those
Yeah.
bad movies you watch.
Exactly. I'll pick up details, but names, I just don't do names. I go, oh, that's that guy from that thing. Yep.
I was the kid
cool, Chris.
when IMDb
Excellent
came
game.
out. I was going through movie to person, jumping from connection to connection, Anyway,
Well, anyways.
just everyone stop looking at me.
Okay. Well, folks, that will conclude this episode of the Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast. If you made it this far, you are such a cool person, and you're probably obsessed with Keanu Reeves, just like we are. Folks, it has been fun. It is sad to say that John Wick is over. It's been such a fun and exciting ride to watch those movies. Izzy's crying. I'm crying on the inside. But, you know, just because Keanu's done doesn't mean the universe is over. So we look forward to the Ballerina. We look forward to the Continental and whatever films they're going to come out in this universe.
I'm sure it'll be a lot because you know what they say. The only sequel that doesn't make money is the last one.
And with that, cue music.
What's going on, everybody? You just listened to the free version of the PCFM podcast. If you want full-length versions of podcast episodes, plus much, much more, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/PCFM podcast.
That is right, Israel. If you want access to this full episode, you have to subscribe to the Fuzzy Private tier, which is our cheapest tier on Patreon at $5 a month. But if you are interested in a little bit more, we also have the Salty Sergeant tier at $8 a month and the Lifer tier at $12 a month. So hopefully we will see you there, PCFM family. Cue music.
Well, well, well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.